have raised taxes in the past. These last year, absolutely not, because of what we're going through. This year, absolutely not. I agree with Councilman Leal 100%, is that in order to give service, you have to raise things. My point exactly. When there's positions not filled and they have not been filled in 3 years, in 2 years, we cut those positions because we're running a city business without them. We're not taking nobody's food off the table. Those positions have been vacant for that long. Then we put that money and hold it back. And right now, we're here for the people. This is not a job that we work for a CEO. The CEO are the taxpayers. We don't work for Golden Fried Chicken. We work for the taxpayers. It's their money. We do what they want us to do. We wouldn't sit here if it wasn't for them. And all of us up here get phone calls on a daily basis. And we get phone calls about their taxes. We get phone calls about their city services. We get phone calls about the streets. We get phone calls about right-of-ways not being cut after it rained a lot. My answer to that is, I'm glad we got rain, right? We can deal with that for a little bit. But we have to remember, just because these masks are gone and we're not seeing the rates of people dying, they're still dying. Masks are gone, but people are still getting sick. That's why the president gave us those monies for 2 years. Because the pandemic takes you 6 years to recover from it. Okay? Gotta keep that in mind. That's just my comment, Mayor. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I'd like to welcome anybody else to make a comment about it. Again, we're not voting on anything tonight, so Councilman Trino.
Mr. Mayor, and the only thing I have to say on that, I agree with Mr. Leal on other things also. But we also, I keep hearing that, well, we're gonna be going into this, and we're gonna have to borrow money here and this to take care of this, but some of us have been here for years. And this is where I have to stand up and say, you know what, we have to be proactive. We're in these positions, we get elected to these positions to work for the future. Okay? Raising taxes, to me, it's not gonna work because you don't have anything to show. There's no economic development out there. We're starting, and I'm glad it is, and I think it's gonna progress to something better. The city is, I do believe that. But this is where we have to work together and move forward and see where we can cut here and there that's not gonna be utilized, that's not working, and take a different vision at this, take a different hit at this, because now you're asking a new current council to look at the future, when I think we should have looked at this, back then. So now you're nailing one council to, hey, we're going into this. We didn't think about this. That's what we need to look at. We're in situations where are these departments bringing in revenues? Are we giving them the proper tools and resources to properly perform their jobs and bring in that money into our city? Are we selling our product? I've said that many times. Are we being transparent to a lot of things? No, we're not. We're not. And just what I have to say, we have to be proactive, and we have to stay on top of these things. We have to really analyze these situations and where we're headed.
Yeah, I certainly agree. We have to be proactive. We need to work together as much as possible, but about not being transparent, I'm not sure where we're not transparent. But.
Well, I had a conversation with Mr. Reyes, and one of the things that I want to bring up is I'm going to shoot for a town hall meeting, and I want public information. I want public feedback. I want to know what the public wants. I want to know what the citizens want. What is it that we can work on as a council together to make the city progress? And I want that feedback coming in from the citizens. So that's a starter. That, to me, that's transparent, because the citizens are listening to us and they're hearing what we're doing behind the scenes. That's what transparency means.
We've had that conversation. I would like to, again, not this, the next agenda, again, look at entertaining town hall. I think it's a good idea, my opinion, but again, I don't think the elected officials make the difference.
Yeah.
But I think it would be something worthy of actually having people come in and play either concerns, and not just concerns, but actually pick topics, what I would suggest to the council of what people are coming in to discuss. So if you wanna talk about parks one time, you wanna talk about economic development, you wanna talk about code enforcement, there's ways of doing this. Now, the participation part is sometimes tough, because sometimes people don't, after 5 o'clock, they may not wanna come in, but it's something worth entertaining.
Yeah. Councilman Trevino, before you came on, I did hold a town hall, a public forum. It was interesting. Unfortunately, maybe we had 30, 40 people here, so. So anyway, that, as far as that transparency, you bet. I'd love to do that, love to work with you on. Anybody else? I'd love to hear, I mean, if you've got anybody who'd like to make a comment. Not gonna-
One thing I gotta say is, I mean, I know we wanna progress forward, you know, in, economic development. I would love to see that. And yes, we did pick up the $400-something bill for the brush itself. I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff that previous councils should have done, could have done, at least could have done. We're running out of funds, the ARP funds, the state funds, and, you know, I mean, I see, or I'm directed to Facebook posts, you know, about the water pump problems, you know, the weeds, you know, we only have X amount of people after this rain, you know, I mean, the weeds grow so fast. We only have like 2 or 3 people maybe working, you know, we can have as many people as we want, but we won't have that equipment, you know, we don't have the equipment to keep up with it. You know, the shredding, the weed eaters, the tractors, the backhoes, or whatever, but, you know, we're, like you said earlier, you know, we're gonna have to borrow money to fix some of these old equipment, you know, I mean, it's been there, I mean, we could have done something years past and fixed one pump at a time, or, you know, to where it'll be in a rotating basis, because that's what you normally do. You know, instead of having everything break down at the same time, and what do we, I mean, where are we gonna get the money from? We're not, you know, I mean, we got a thin budget as it is, tight one. So, I mean, yeah, we gotta be creative, sure.
Yeah. Anybody else, council? Okay, with that, I just, you know, Councilman Rodriguez, we're not gonna share the same opinion on the pandemic. We talked about that. I'm not gonna go over that again. But I will say too, the blessing to the city of the ARP money, we did get a good tranche, and it has benefited the city. For example, we did major improvements to our water storage tanks, about $300,000. And if we had not had that money, we would have had to take it out of budget, and that would have taken it from somewhere else. So we have, I commend again the staff for a good use of those funds. We're gonna get blessed with another tranche here pretty quick. And it is using to fix big picture things, which if we didn't fix or repair, we would do that. We would have to take that out of our budget. So anyway, it is, and in that way, this whole citizenry benefits from that. So we are blessed by that and grateful to have that, and fortunate, because it would be pretty tough if we didn't. But with that being said, I think that wraps up,
No, we still have.
okay,
We'll be brief on the utility
Okay,
fund.
Crystal, okay, so we stopped here. This is the city clerk expenditures, personnel 73,000, operating 55. And then you wanna go to the next slide? This is the tax expenditures for the operating is 105,000. The next slide. This is public information, expenditures, personnel 60,000, operating is 36,000 and 0 in capital outlay. Next slide, these are utility fund expenditures. These are the extra papers that were on your desk. This is from the utility fund. This is the garbage expenditures. Operating is 1.9 mil. Personnel is 39,000. Next slide. Water production, it's budgeted, operating is 1.1. Personnel is 331, and capital outlay is 5,500. Next slide is natural gas expenditures. Operating is 532,000, personnel is 235, and the capital outlay for gas is 19,000. And wastewater treatment expenditures, operating is 300,000, personnel is 174, and capital outlay is 33,000. This is utility admin part for the, utility fund. Personnel is 151,000, operating is 21,000 with 0 capital outlay. This is at admin expenditures for, utility fund. It's gonna be 94,000 for personnel, operating is 40,000, and the capital outlay is 0. And the last one is city pool services. This is for, personnel 26,000 and operating is 500. And
I think we got cut off with municipal court. Did we? Did we go over municipal court?
I thought we did.
You did? Okay.
And that's all of them. For utility fund and general fund.
Anybody have any questions on utility fund?
No, but on the municipal court, Mayor, how many employees are there and how many employees are in the public information officer?
For, municipal court, it's 2, and for public information officer, it's 1.
2 employees.
2 employees for municipal court,
And one for the public officer?
and for public information is 1.
And with that, all the benefits that we see.
And that's with benefits.
Okay, on the municipal, look, I don't wanna be mean about this or anything. Before we talk, we need to know what we're saying. Municipal, only one gets benefits. The other one does not get
We
benefits.
budgeted for, I'll speak to that. We budgeted for 2 benefits and, I'll go ahead and mention it now. The other benefit, Judge is here, the other benefit's really contingent upon the council. I know that's something that, probably needs to be discussed, but it is budgeted.
Okay,
If we wanna pull it out, we can, but
Okay.
understand that it won't be done.
okay, so right now,
It's in,
the judge is not
It
with
isn't.
salary, with,
it's in the budget,
no, but his contract as of right now,
that's correct.
cause we could go back into this. Whenever we did hire him, I thought it was with benefits, and then all of a sudden,
Yep.
it wasn't with benefits. But I thought that's what we agreed on, but that's not here or there.
Okay.
So that's why I asked her, I assumed that we're looking at only one employee with benefits versus the other.
So we're budgeted,
So we went up on this budget.
so we're budgeted,
Okay.
yes.
Our secretary, how much does she get paid, the clerk?
I won't go on personal salaries each, I'll give to you that information, but I won't go on.
Okay.
And public forum is not a good idea.
So are we able to ask for that information, Bobby?
Yes, and
I don't know why we wouldn't be able to answer.
I can do that, council, I mean, again, with this, but I'd ask the same, I mean, I would venture to say that most entities, including public entities, are not gonna disclose salaries.
Yeah, I don't think we wanna go down that road. I think,
I don't
Councilwoman,
mind.
you're free to get that information, but I don't think we wanna go into that, so, yeah.
Well, I'm not saying any names, but we do a budget and it's open. Ask me if I'm incorrect. I'm not saying the name, I'm asking what is that position budgeted for?
sure, especially since you're the entity approving the budget.
Yeah,
There certainly isn't anything wrong with you knowing what the budget salary is
and that's where
for
we get the transparency where it's
for the
hidden,
employees.
because certain people get paid certain money. Yes.
It's not hidden, I'm sorry, that's.
Okay, so why can't, we've always discussed this, this is not the first time that the council has asked. Some council members don't ask these questions.
I've offered to speak with y'all individually about any one salaries you have.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We're gonna follow that protocol. Any other questions on utilities?
So where do we stand with that, Bobby? Was I incorrect for asking that question? Was I out of manner for asking that question in a budget workshop?
I don't believe you are. It used to be the state law required that during the preparation of the budget, there had to be a salary schedule where you, as the council, had to know, in fact, it was for public consumption, you had to know what each salaried position was and what it was paid, okay? That was taken out of the local government code, but, when you talk about transparency, I don't think there's anything wrong with you knowing, or the public knowing, what people get paid, because almost everything you do, unless it's confidential by law, is public anyway. And the stuff that is confidential is extremely limited.
Very limited.
But,
Anybody can ask what I make.
sure, it's
If I
hard,
work for the city, it's taxpayers' dollars.
right.
And the salary schedule's in the budget, the
Yes.
salary schedule.
So usually you have a salary schedule that
That wasn't my
that
question.
typically is gonna be, the position and the rate of pay.
Exactly.
Because my thing is, I wanna know, this is where I'm going at.
Right.
The judge is at this salary, and the secretary is at this salary. Right now, the secretary gets benefits. And the secretary only answers to you.
Right.
And the judge is the judge that signs off on everything and is down here with no benefits. And right now that we're talking about a budget, I wanna know, what is the secretary budget at? What are we budgeting the municipal judge at? Are we budgeting it with a raise? Are we keeping him the same but moving the secretary up with the budget? Or are we gonna raise the secretary's position, her salary, but we're gonna give the judge benefits? We're here to discuss a budget.
Right.
This is not private.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. All I'm suggesting again on that, is I've offered, I know I have, and I don't mind discussing budgets, individual salaries. I really, in my opinion, I get.
Okay, so when we come back out here to discuss as a council, hey, Ms. Garza, this position, not person, this position makes X amount of dollars with this much experience, okay? This person makes this and they're coming out of the same line item, what do? We make those decisions, you hire.
Right.
We put the budget in place.
Right.
How are we gonna agree on a price, an amount, on a line item, and we have to whisper it? Is it because someone's making more than the other?
No, I'm saying on that end, that's something I don't never normally go around just sharing people's salaries. I don't mind, again, doing that.
We just talked about the maintenance guys, we just talked about all these other positions.
Councilwoman, we went through all this salary, we saw all that, we approved that.
We did not see that, Mayor,
We
we asked
saw the
for,
salary schedule.
the salaries, we
saw
asked
the
for it.
salary schedule, and that's what
We
we
didn't,
approved.
the salary schedule and what is budgeted in the budget is two different things. Because with the salary schedule, it's a possibility of what they could possibly make, but that is not what is budgeted, am I correct, Fred? Okay, so those are two different things.
Well,
When we got the budget, we asked, several members of the council asked for people's salaries.
And again, I've offered to meet with you individually. I have, you know that.
But I got a job, I can't come in, if you can email it to me.
I don't.
So even the public also.
all right, hold on, Councilman Leal, Councilman Leal. All right, okay,
Mayor.
Councilman Leal, go ahead.
Yes, I'm hearing lately, I've been hearing a lot of discussion about the judge, municipal judge, and the clerk and this and that. Was there a big difference from last year to this year's? I mean, I know the contract of the judge, that, you know, that, we dealt with that negotiation. So if there was an issue with the pay, we should have dealt with it in negotiation of the contract when we did it from part-time to full-time. But is the secretary getting paid significantly more now than she was last year, or what's the issue?
No.
That's the question I asked, you answered him.
You asked for the actual salary. All I'm telling you is if you back out what the salary was for the negotiation, what was negotiated for the judge, that'll give you what's budgeted for the clerk. I mean, that's really what it is.
But she gets benefits.
Yes, and again, they're both budgeted, but again, what I'm asking for.
What I was just asking from last year's, what did we give last year?
As far as what?
The salary. And what are we offering this year?
All right, council, we're done on this
If
topic.
it's the same, it's the
We are done on this
same.
topic. If you would like some more information, you may get with Fred this week. There's no action being taken. So you may answer the questions that you have. He will sit down over the phone or via email, discuss anything that you want to know about. But there's no action taken, so we're done on this comment. What else do you have?
Mayor, I think that references, just to speak of a couple of things, because I know that this is something that I think I ordered in there, other related matters. Council, and so you'll find, I appreciate the superintendent being here, you'll find on other related matters, there's things that are not in this budget that are gonna be presented in this item. Now, with that said, We know, as we just alluded to, we're under a tight budget. There's things that are gonna be presented tonight that is gonna affect that budget, potentially.
Yeah,
Same with-
my decision will be the same.
And I-
It's a no.
Councilwoman, just,
I'm just saying on that, end, council, that's part of what, you know, we're talking about taxpayer dollars, that's part of it, right? And so, there's another request also from the, I believe there'll be another request from the, and they haven't officially submitted the